Hi. Digitakt really is the synthesizer groovebox machine that just keeps on giving, isn't it? Did you know, for instance, that it can be a wavetable synth without too much trouble? Let's take a look. So, what is a wavetable? Well, without stating the obvious too much, it's simply an audio file full of single-cycle waveforms. They're often related in some way, sometimes sampling from other instruments, or they shift from a rather simple waveform to something much more complex. So instead of your synthesizer having dedicated analog oscillator circuitry, or virtual analog waveform generating code, a wavetable synth can use these predefined single-cycle waveforms instead. And really, it's a much broader variation of how synth voices on the Digitakt are created out of single-cycle waveforms. A true wavetable synthesizer, however, differs from our example with the Digitakt, primarily because they can do smooth interpolation or morphing between the wavetable steps, and they can otherwise manipulate those waveforms in different ways. So the software I'm using here today is a free and cross-platform app called WaveEdit. It's perfect for our use case today because not only is it free and cross-platform, it creates wavetables with 64 steps, and that fits perfectly into Digitakt's slice mode, which we'll get into in a little bit. It also has a large library of pre-made wavetables, and other user-generated wavetables are available inside the app as well. There are many other sources of wavetables on the web. However, other synths and software can work with much more than 64 steps. Vital, for instance, uses 256, and I've seen others go up to 1024. So your mileage may vary depending on which tools you use and what will work well with the Digitakt. Inside of WaveEdit, we can directly draw the waveform, like so, or we can edit the harmonics which make up that waveform. Then we can add effects to tweak that sound or shift it around in other steps. You could spend hours here designing your perfect waveforms, or look through the ones created by other users. So let's take a look at using these wavetables in the Digitakt. First, I'll use the transfer app, and we'll just upload the tables which come with WaveEdit. 3 primary banks are provided, and then there's a sample set of sine waves. Great. Now we can load these into our project. We'll go into the settings and samples, and we'll scroll down to transfers. And here we have the 3 ROM banks which come with WaveEdit. Load those up, load to the project. Great, so now we can go to track 5, and we're already in the source menu, so we can go to our sample, and I'm going to pick for this, I'm going to go with ROM B. Now if I just play the sample, it's going to be a bit of a mess. And first we need to loop it. Now it's a looping mess. Good. Let's turn off decay while we're testing things for now. So that's all of the waveforms in the wavetable. So going down to a single cycle is going to sound better. So let's turn the length all the way down. So now if we adjust the start of the sample, we'll scan through the different slices in the wavetable. And you'll see different waveforms are now appearing in our oscilloscope. But if you look at the oscilloscope, you'll notice sometimes there are these weird phasing or glitchiness right here, where we're in between two different portions of multiple waveforms. And that doesn't always cooperate very well. So instead, we'll enable slice mode. So we'll shift source and go down to slice. The grid can go all the way to 64 because we have 64 different waveforms in our wavetable. So now if we scan through the slices, it'll sound much more like we expect. So although it's very steppy, there's not much we can do about that. It's really all about trade-offs here. Either we get a steppy but much more cleaner effect, or we get something slightly smoother, but it can be glitchier with the default one-shot mode. But we could add some filter and reverb and delay and try to smooth things out a little bit. So using wavetables can give an otherwise very static synth sound a lot of variation in range and modulation and timbre. So let's assign an LFO to the slice select, and we can make it something pretty slow and put it in a very narrow range. I find that works pretty well, maybe 3 steps. And I like to set it to trigger mode. If we increase the LFO too much, it just gets a bit messy, I think. But we can also adjust where our starting point is for different effects. Let's add some notes in, maybe, and we can see how that works. Let's see, C4. And we'll make all of these a bit longer. Nice. We can also add in some drums here. Nice. And there we got the start of something interesting that we could build upon with some nice variation in tone. Another option you could play around with is a feature which I didn't realize was actually available on the original Digitakt. I thought this was something that was only on the Digitakt 2, so it's awesome to see it here. Let's go back to our wavetable track, and we'll disable the LFO for now. And maybe we can add in some other steps. And now back in the source menu, we can press yes right here. And we have a new menu which lets you assign slices either linearly or randomly. The linear option distributes all the slices from 1 up to the maximum in order to the selected sequencer steps, and random does that randomly. So now we have these steps selected. We do create linear locks. And if we hold down each step, the slices increment, which might sound let's remove the other steps, see how that sounds. So it's playing all 6 steps from slice 1 up to slice 6. We could press yes again and assign randomly out of our pool of 64 steps. Again, I thought this was only available on the Digitakt 2, so it's great to see it here too. Definitely expect some follow-ups to my other generative techniques videos. And that's a look at using wavetables on the Digitakt. There's no reason why this shouldn't also work on Digitakt 2. So have fun, try it out, let me know how it goes, and thanks for watching. Cheers!